I used to feel stuck for days, like I couldn't really move, in the sense that every single day that I would go, it would almost feel like the same, where I would try and set out to do something meaningful. I'd wake up feeling like, right, this is the day that I'm going to make a difference, only to then get pulled in every other direction by social media, video games, or whatever else it was that felt more interesting at the time. And after I'd done that late in the evening, I would feel miserable. I'd feel miserable, I'd feel ashamed. And that was the sort of thing where I really started and continued to question why I was still stuck in that loop. And then tomorrow, when I'd aim to be better, the same thing would happen. Now, this happened for a very long time. I would even argue maybe around 2 years, where I was just stuck in what I would call this shame rut, where I would have good intentions, but I couldn't seem to get myself out of this rut. Now, this video isn't to tell you that there's some magic secret that gets you out, or gets you out of this rut. What I will share is how I sort of help get myself out of this rut as well. Now, this isn't to say that I can't feel shameful sometimes or I can't go through issues. That's not what I'm saying. But I want to talk more about this as well. So, what I made of a difference, or at least what I started to change, was that first of all, it was asking myself why, right? Asking yourself better questions. Because for me, I had to ask myself the better questions of, okay, well, what is it that is drawing me to do these said things instead of the thing that I'm supposed to be doing? Right. So, for example, I guess maybe in my situation, if I'm getting dragged away to whatever else it is and I'm not focusing on creating content or designing video games, I need to ask myself my question, well, why is that? Right. What feelings am I not getting right now that I could be getting? Right. So, I know for me, it was, playing video games gave me that sense of achievement. It gave me that sense of something to look forward to, which I realized back then I didn't really have. Right, I didn't really have that sense of achievement at the time. I was building a business which I didn't really care for, and I didn't really get much results in. So, like, it actually made sense why I was, being taken away to doing these other things. Right, and even the sense of achievement as well. It's like that all made sense now that I look back at it, but at the time it didn't, and it made things very frustrating, and it almost felt like I just didn't want it enough. And that, now looking back, it also makes sense as well. So asking myself the better questions was the first thing. The second thing was, once I knew what feelings it was that I was perhaps getting elsewhere that I wasn't getting with what I was currently doing, the second question was ask myself, well, what can I be doing so that the stuff that I am doing is actually giving me those feelings as well? And that for me, well, first and foremost, actually allowed me to quit the business that I hated building. But most importantly, it also allowed me to realign and actually really ask myself what I wanted to do, right? Because so much of my life, I realized there's so many people online that tell you what you should and shouldn't do, what business you should make, what venture you should go into, but they don't really care, right? At the end of the day, the only person that's going to care as much about you is you, right? And so for me, when I asked myself, well, where else can I find these feelings of accomplishment, these feelings of just, moving towards something meaningful? And that for me was a few things, right? The first thing was, well, I quite enjoy creating content. I quite enjoy speaking about these sort of topics, to my friends. And I figured, well, what if I just start recording content? Doesn't have to be anything grand, but just start recording content. Same with video games, right? I was like, well, I'll play lots of video games. It would be quite interesting to make video games, and I'm quite good at AI, so let's try and make video games with AI. That's that, right? And it's now gotten to a point where I'm a good maybe 3, perhaps 4 months into creating this content, or seriously, and developing video games, and I'm really enjoying it, right? I'm getting the feelings that I wasn't getting before, or at least through my natural means. Now, does this make me immune to going and playing video games or getting dragged off into whatever piece of content? No, of course not. But I feel so much more on track now, and the whole shame loop and the shame rut that I was in before, I no longer have so much of an issue with, because I know now where I'm getting the feeling that I wasn't getting before. And so all this really comes down to, for me, was just the questions I was asking myself. Because I think at the time I was almost trying to search online. I was trying to figure out what was the problem. But what I really encourage a lot of people that watch my videos to do is just ask yourself better questions. Try and think of yourself, right? Ask yourself the questions of, where are you not getting wherever you're being dragged away, what feelings are those giving you that you're not getting currently? And the second thing is, how can you, or what can you start doing today or the next few days to start getting that feeling that you've been trying to, I guess, outsource as well? Hopefully you found this video useful. Ask yourself those questions, and I'll chat soon.